Stationary. All right. A brief history of healthcare APIs. So in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you everything you never wanted to know about healthcare APIs. This is a famous XKCD. Generally speaking, if your solution to a standard is another standard, then you're probably on the wrong course. In short, though, that's exactly what healthcare has done. So the year is 1979. Jimmy Carter's president. Rocky II just came out. Interest rates are at 11%. Things could get worse. Recession is looming, and grocery stores have a problem. So the problem is that they have a lot of vendors. There's a lot of people who you need to connect with if you work at a grocery store and you're in charge of the dairy department or the deli department. There's a lot of different people whose data that you have to synchronize. So the grocery stores, they come up with a solution to that problem, and it's called ANSI X12, and the UN comes up with a different version of it called EDIFACT. And if you've never seen one of these, this is a screenshot of what X12 looks like. This powers everything from grocery stores to shipping companies. When you get your iPhone delivered to you, underneath it all is X12. And it looks really strange to the modern developer eyes. It's got this weird formatting and delimited. It's delimited by asterisks. But this is where healthcare has its data origins. So the very first healthcare API was actually the ASTM standard. And this is what the very first version of healthcare data looked like. It was delimited not by an asterisk like X12. I don't know if I can go back. Can't go back. It's okay, we'll go forward. Not by an asterisk, but by a comma. So this is one of the very first versions of a comma-separated value. Then in 1981, in a little town called San Francisco, UCSF, the hospital network there, decided that maybe we actually need to have some kind of data system. So this is a network diagram from 1981. And the team there launched what would become the very first electronic medical record system in a hospital. Fast forward a few years, interest rates are at 9% now. It's another bad economic year. Toronto looks like this. And HL7 is born, Health Level 7. And this is where electronic healthcare records start to spread really rapidly. Why Level 7? OSI rather, Layer 7. You can look that up on Wikipedia if you don't know what that is. So what does healthcare data look like? It looks like this. It looks just like EDI or X12. So what is this? So patient William A. Jones III was admitted on August 21st, 1987 at 2:01 p.m. by Dr. da-da-da-da. All of that is contained in this message. This is what your healthcare data looks like inside of a hospital. This is another example of a query. So we don't have SQL, we have HL7 messages. HL7 v2 became really, really dominant. And then for 25 years, nothing happened. Toronto underwent a few changes. So fast forward, 2012, interest rates are approaching 0%. Life is good. You care a lot about your Facebook wall. Call Me Maybe is the biggest song of the year. But in 2012, another big thing happened, and that was the year that FHIR was born. Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. This is the future of health information exchange. Why? Because 3 things are part of FHIR that will be familiar to modern developers. Number 1, REST. Yay, we can make HTTP APIs. Number 2, JSON. Yay, we don't have asterisk or pipe or comma delimited data. And 3, OAuth. Yay, we have a permission model for sharing. These three things combine to produce something that's really, really cool, which is patient access APIs. Patient access APIs are APIs that let a patient access their data, that let you access your data. So in 2022, for the very first time, patients can do this. You can get access to your own healthcare data, mostly in the US. Last slide. So what does Flexpa do? Flexpa, look at that typo. Flexpa connects hundreds of separate patient access APIs into one, kind of like Plaid for Health. Thanks. Hey. Questions? So, questions from the audience. Alex has a mic. He'll pass around if you have a question. We got the hoverboard booting up. We're working on the mic.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
We're doing questions. Okay, let's get a couple questions. Hey, first one, hand went way up. This is going to be amazing. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Anuj, and I work very closely with this kind of data, so I'm quite interested. Are you looking forward to what sectors are you proposing to sell or propose this data to? Like, what sectors can use this data, or any developer can use this data?
So any developer can make an app that uses clinical or claims data from a patient access API. That's the big promise of patient access APIs, being able to build applications that use healthcare data. That's open to developers now.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because there are a lot of industry-specific, like I work for insurance, I earlier worked for healthcare, so there are industry-specific solutions, but if it becomes really open source, then anybody can plug it.
Thanks, Anuj.
Hi, Ulysses here. There was great history of X12, HL7, HL7 V2. How are you guys dealing with the decentralized world we're going towards in Web3, essentially, accessing data points or PIIs from multiple places, right? Because we're going into an era where access to data is paramount, right? Paramount. So how do you guys deal with that? And what are your security, grades? Not just OAuth2, OAuth3 or SAML protocols, but how do you deal beyond the scope of the utilization of the data?
So in traditional models of health information exchange, we have created big data silos. And those data silos need to connect to each other by contracts and by complicated setups. We throw all that away, and the person that we put in charge of the transfer of the data is the patient. So Flexpa really connects to existing sources of that data, but at the end of the day, the person who is doing the data transfer is you. You're in control of who gets access and the terms of that access, and also the revocation. Like, hey, I gave access, I don't want that person to have it anymore. We're different than lots of other health information exchange solutions because the patient is the person who's giving permission.
Last question.
Hey, thank you for that. So a comment and a question. The comment is I've been trying to digitize my own data for 12 years now because of some complicated issues. But Canada doesn't have open API for banking yet, RBC, if you're listening. How do you manage to take Flexa up into a mandated piece of technology to be used everywhere?
So the way this stuff works today in the US is because of a government mandate. If we want the same thing to happen here, we need a government mandate. Luckily, there's fewer actors involved in Canada, so getting that done is probably a little bit easier than it was in the US. But the answer in this case is making it mandatory to produce an API. And that's what America has in this case.
Round of applause for Josh.